Is there someone who keeps passing through your mind, even without a clear reason? You wake up and remember. You go to sleep and feel their presence. Even if the person is not nearby, something about them calls to you from within. It's not just longing, it's deeper. As if the soul is trying to say something that you still haven't understood. This happens to many, but for the chosen ones, it's different, because their minds are not common. They are sensitive, spiritual, an open field that picks up everything that vibrates strongly. So, when someone remains in your thoughts, it is because there is energy flowing between you. And this flow, even if silent, carries information that the ordinary world does not explain. You try to forget, distract yourself, ignore it. But the thought returns. It could be someone from the past, an unresolved love, a severed friendship, or even someone with whom you never had a direct bond. And still, the presence of this person insists on visiting you mentally, as if pulling you from within. The chosen one feels more. They live with their channels open, and because of this, they often carry connections that they do not understand with their minds, but recognize with their souls. There is something in you that knows when the bond is real. Even without words, without contact, without explanation. This is the kind of intuition that does not lie. Perhaps this person is indeed thinking of you. Perhaps the connection has not been spiritually severed, or perhaps the emotional attachment is still vibrating. What matters now is to understand what this constant thought is trying to show you, and that is what we will talk about today. If this theme has already touched something inside you, take a deep breath and come with me until the end. Because by the end of this conversation, a lot will make sense, and you will understand why certain people remain, even when the world has already tried to erase them. If you are not yet part of our channel, take the opportunity to subscribe now. There is a lot of content like this waiting for you. Let's go together. When a chosen one starts thinking too much about someone, it is usually not just a random occurrence. Their mind is sensitive, tuned to frequencies that most people don't even perceive. It's as if they have an invisible antenna, picking up signals, feelings, and thoughts that come from other people, even from a distance, even in silence. This kind of sensitivity is not learned. They are born with it. Since childhood, the chosen one feels when the environment is strange, when someone is unwell, when something is not right, and when someone frequently occupies their thoughts, something is being communicated non-verbally. The chosen one feels this in their chest, in their mind, in their energy field. Sometimes this recurring thought comes as a warning. It could be that the person is going through something, and their energy is seeking help, comfort, or even healing. The chosen one perceives this vibration arriving as if it were their own. They don't know why, but feel a restlessness that seems never-ending. In other cases, it is a spiritual connection that is still active, energetic ties that have not been severed or healed. When this happens, the presence of the person remains alive within the chosen one's mental field, even if contact has ended. And the stronger the bond, the deeper the presence will be. Not all of this is positive. Sometimes the constant thought arises from an unbalanced exchange. The person who is on the chosen one's mind may be unconsciously draining energy, seeking something they do not even understand. And the chosen one, being empathetic, absorbs this even before realizing what is happening. That is why it is important for the chosen one to learn to observe without judgment. Feeling is not weakness, it is a gift. But this gift needs to be cared for, filtered, and balanced. Not every recurring thought requires a response. Some only need awareness. Understanding what they are feeling, separating what is theirs and what belongs to the other, is part of the journey. This sensitivity should not be seen as a burden. It is a deep channel of perception. When well used, this gift can guide the chosen one, protect them, and help them maintain more conscious relationships. They learn to listen to the subtle signs that the universe sends, and to respect what their intuition reveals. If you feel someone constantly on your mind, take a moment and listen to what your body is saying. Do you feel lightness or heaviness? Peace or anxiety? This helps to understand whether it is a healthy connection or if it is time to let go. The chosen one's body speaks, and the mind, when aligned with the soul, does not lie. This process requires practice, time, and silence. The chosen one needs moments of introspection to organize what they feel, not because they are fragile, but because they feel too much. And feeling too much without understanding creates confusion. When they allow themselves this internal space, they can clearly perceive what comes from the other and what belongs only to them. The chosen one's mind is alive, sensitive, spiritual. Therefore, when someone appears in it so frequently, it is worth observing. It is not always obsession. Many times it is intuition, a warning from the soul, an energetic connection that still pulses, an internal call asking for attention, truth, or release. If this is your case, embrace what you are feeling. Do not fight against it, but also do not cling to it without clarity. Allow the truth to come with time, and take care of your energy with tenderness. What you think, you feel. What you feel, you attract. Therefore, keep your mind clear and your heart at peace. This is what guides the chosen ones on the right path. The first reason someone occupies so much space in the thoughts of a chosen one is emotional attachment. It doesn't matter if it's a good or bad memory, a love story, or an open wound. When there is attachment, the mind does not easily switch off. The energetic bond remains, even in silence. Chosen ones create deep connections because they feel everything intensely. They do not love halfway. When they commit to a relationship, they do so with body, mind, and soul. Therefore, even if the person leaves, their energy remains alive in the emotional field of the chosen one. It is like an echo that does not silence. This type of attachment can arise from various feelings: affection, longing, anger, guilt. All of these emotional states create invisible ties. And the more you think, the more you reinforce this bond. It is as if each thought feeds an energetic line between you and that person. Sometimes, the chosen one doesn't even want to remember anymore. But the mind insists, not because they are weak, but because they are sensitive. Because their soul is still trying to process everything they have experienced. They are still seeking to understand why that connection was so strong, or why it wasn't resolved clearly. There is also the desire to close cycles. And for the chosen one, unresolved cycles do not vanish over time. They remain there, pending, occupying space in feelings, in the body, and in memory. The attachment in this case is not just emotional, it is spiritual. It is an unconscious attempt to find meaning or repair. The most curious thing is that attachment does not depend on contact. Even without speaking to the person for months or years, the chosen one may feel as if they are nearby. This shows how connections do not follow logical rules. They follow frequency, intensity, and shared history. Many times, the chosen one blames themselves for not being able to forget. But forgetting is not the point. The true path is to transform the attachment into understanding. It is not about erasing the memory, but learning not to cling to it anymore. It is about honoring what was, but moving forward in peace with what is. This is the hardest part for those who feel deeply. Because freeing someone who has marked their soul requires more courage than insisting on holding on. The chosen one needs to understand that detaching is not rejecting. It is about opening space for the new, for lightness, for the healing that only comes when the energy is released. And when this happens, everything changes. The mind slows down. The heart feels relief. The energy starts to flow again. The person may still exist in memory, but they no longer occupy the same place. Because now, the chosen one has regained control of their own vibration. If you feel that someone still lives within your thoughts, look kindly at that bond. Ask yourself, is there still love? Or is there attachment? This answer can change the way you relate to your own energy and free you to live more truthfully. Excessive attachment is one of the greatest spiritual challenges for a chosen one, not because they are weak, but because they feel too much. When they connect with someone, it is not just affection, it is surrender. It is a soul bond. And when this tie is broken or remains unresolved, the pain settles in deep places. It is common for the chosen one to confuse intensity with permanence. They believe that because they feel something so strong, it must last forever. But not every encounter is meant to continue. Some came to teach, others to free. And excessive attachment arises when the heart refuses to accept that the cycle may have ended. When the chosen one cannot let go, they begin to live more in memory than in their own reality. The mind fills with what if, with conversations that never happened, with endings that never came. And this generates silent suffering that gradually drains energy day by day. This type of attachment binds. It prevents progress. It takes away clarity. The person occupies such a large space in the chosen one's mind that they begin to disconnect from themselves. Their desires fade into the background. Their dreams lose strength. Their soul begins to feel suffocated. It is not love that binds like this. It is need mixed with fantasy. It is hope mixed with fear. The chosen one needs to learn that to love is also to know how to let go. That connection is not possession. That true presence cannot be forced or demanded. It either flows or it hurts. This emotional excess turns into dependency. The chosen one begins to feel that they need the other to feel whole. But this is a dangerous illusion. No one came into the world to complete anyone. The mission of the chosen one is to find their own light, their own truth, and not to depend on the presence of others to feel at peace. The more they cling to the past, the heavier the present becomes, because attachment generates stagnation. The body feels it. The mind gets tired. The soul cries in silence. And then comes the emptiness. That feeling that nothing makes sense because the energy is trapped in something that has already passed. Breaking this cycle is not simple. The chosen one needs courage to confront themselves, to ask, why am I holding on to this? What am I trying to fill with this memory? And more importantly, what do I lose every time I refuse to let go? Liberating oneself is not forgetting. It is accepting. It is looking with gratitude, taking the lesson, and returning the person to their place, the past. Because as long as they continue to reside in the present of your mind, the future cannot enter. The new cannot find space. Healing has nowhere to flow. The chosen one needs to remember that the mind is a temple, and one cannot allow any presence to occupy this temple for an indefinite time. It is necessary to clean, care for, and watch over thoughts, because what remains there influences everything. Decisions, emotions, energy, direction. When they understand this, the process of liberation begins. One day at a time, they withdraw the strength that fed the attachment. They stop reliving the same thoughts. They cease looking for signs. They learn to look at themselves with more kindness, to listen to themselves with more attention. And then, something magical happens. They return to themselves. This return is powerful. Peace begins to emerge again. Energy starts to circulate once more. The eyes begin to see new possibilities. And above all, the soul breathes a sigh of relief, because it knows. The chosen one finally understood that letting go is also loving. If you feel that you are living this painful attachment, look at it with truth. Do not judge yourself, but also do not deceive yourself. Your mission is too great to be trapped in a story that does not allow you to grow. Let go. Trust. The energy that is yours will find its way back. What is not yours will free you. Many people doubt when they hear this for the first time, but those who are chosen feel it deeply. When someone thinks strongly, you perceive it. There is no need for a message, a call, or a meeting. The thought comes like a gentle presence, sometimes like a slight discomfort, sometimes like a memory that insists on returning. The chosen one has a finely tuned spiritual sensitivity. They pick up what is in the air, feel what is not said, and when someone connects energetically, even in silence, that connection resonates. It's as if a vibrational frequency is emitted, and the chosen one, being sensitive to these frequencies, receives the signal. Sometimes the thought comes with emotion. Suddenly, for no apparent reason, you feel longing, sadness, warmth in your chest, a desire to see someone who wasn't even part of your day. This could be the energy of the other person touching your field, a direct reflection that that person is also thinking of you. When two souls have a true bond, thoughts are not just thoughts. They become a bridge. The other may not speak, but they feel, and by feeling, they send this vibration. The chosen one, by their spiritual nature, not only perceives it, but also holds onto it with greater intensity. This type of connection cannot be explained logically. It is spiritual. It is as if something invisible moves between two hearts and maintains communication even in silence. Therefore, when you feel someone strongly, to the point that it seems they are there, even when absent, they might indeed be present, in energy. Many think it is imagination, but the chosen one has already learned to recognize what is intuition and what is common thought, and this difference is felt in the body. When the signal comes from outside, there is a subtle change in vibration. It is like an energetic visit that arrives without knocking. This perception does not necessarily mean that the person will return, or that there is still a path, but rather that, in that moment, there is an exchange happening. Someone is calling you mentally, and you are feeling it. This can come from longing, love, regret, or even from something unresolved. The most important thing for the chosen one is to discern what to do with this feeling. Not every connection needs to be rescued. Sometimes the thought serves simply as a warning. Other times, it is the other's heart trying to communicate, because it doesn't know how to express itself in words. Energy seeks paths when the words fail. Feeling someone frequently is not a sign of madness. It is a sign of sensitivity. But the chosen one must always remember, sensitivity is not imprisonment. They can recognize the signal, feel the presence, honor the connection. But they do not need to cling to it if it no longer makes sense on their path. Some people appear strongly in thoughts because they need prayer, forgiveness, or release. Others because their soul still wants to learn something from that memory. And there are also those who think with such intensity that they can, for brief moments, touch your field and awaken old feelings. The chosen one needs to learn to feel without absorbing everything, to recognize without carrying, to receive the signal but not let it take over their mind to the point of preventing their peace. Feeling is natural. Being stuck is not. The mission is to move forward lightly, even while recognizing the depth of these connections. If you feel that someone thinks of you frequently, listen with your heart, but act wisely. Sometimes it is time to let go. Sometimes it is time to forgive. And in some cases, it is time to make space to understand what this connection still wants to show you. The mind of a chosen one is not common. It has a more active, more receptive magnetic field. When they think of someone with intensity, that vibration spreads. It is not just imagination. It is real energy being sent. And, in the same way, they also feel when another person draws them in with constant thoughts. Thoughts have power. They carry emotion, intention, and direction. When the chosen one focuses too much on someone, they are sending a spiritual invitation. And this invitation can be accepted, even unconsciously, by the other person. It's as if two frequencies are tuning in and creating an invisible bridge between two worlds. This bridge, however, can be confusing, because not everything that is felt belongs to the chosen one. Sometimes they are absorbing something that comes from outside, a longing that is not theirs, a discomfort that did not arise within them. But it is there, as if it were. That is why discernment is so important. The chosen one needs to ask themselves, sincerely, is this thought mine? Or am I just feeling what the other is emanating? This simple reflection can change everything, because the chosen one has the gift of energetic empathy. And if they do not watch carefully, they carry what is not theirs, without realizing it. When the mind is fixated on someone, that person's energy enters the field of the chosen one. And if the other person is unbalanced, it affects them. That is why constant thoughts can leave the chosen one tired, confused, emotionally unstable, even without direct contact. It is like a silent yet powerful conversation. Thinking is like opening a door. If you insist on keeping that door open, the energetic flow intensifies. This does not mean that the person will come back, nor that the feeling is reciprocated. It simply means that there is an exchange happening, and it can be nourishing or draining. If the feeling involved is love, gratitude, or healing, this exchange can even strengthen the chosen one. But if it is pain, attachment, guilt, or sickly longing, the chosen one's field suffers. They need to learn to close mental doors that no longer make sense. Releasing the other from their mind is an act of freeing oneself. Many times the chosen one feels a constant presence in their head, but does not understand where it comes from. The answer may lie in the type of thought they are feeding, or in the type of connection the other insists on maintaining spiritually, even without words. Energy does not lie, and the chosen one's mind picks up everything. Therefore, upon noticing an insistent presence in their mind, the chosen one should ask themselves, does this bring me lightness or heaviness? Does it bring me closer to myself? Or does it pull me away from my peace? This answer will say a lot, because the true call of the chosen one is to keep their field clean, to fulfill their mission. Training the mind is essential, silencing when necessary, cutting off repetitive thoughts that only bring confusion, and above all, remembering that not everything that arrives needs to stay. The chosen one has the right and the duty to choose what they nourish, because where they focus, they grow, and their energy is too valuable to be wasted. If you are a chosen one and feel someone constantly on your mind, analyze it with care. It may be a beautiful sign, or a clear warning. It could be a bond or a shackle. Use your gift of intuition to identify it. And never forget, you attract what you nourish. So, nourish only what does you good. The chosen one has the gift of connecting deeply, but this gift can become a prison if not used with awareness. Thinking too much about someone can be a sign of unhealed attachment. It can be need disguised as longing. It can be emptiness wanting to be filled. And the danger lies in calling this destiny when in fact it is just resistance. But it can also be a calling, a real connection that still pulses even in silence. It may be an intuition saying, "This person needs prayer, forgiveness, or release." The problem is not feeling. The problem is drowning in feeling without direction. The chosen one needs to listen with the heart, but act with spirit. If what you feel for this person brings lightness, clarity, presence, it may be true love. But if it brings pain, confusion, diversion, it may just be an old bond asking for closure. Not every bond is meant to last. Some exist only to teach. The chosen one needs to learn to let go of what has already fulfilled its role. Holding someone in your mind day after day, without real return, may be draining your energy. You came into the world with a mission, and it requires clarity. Love? Yes, but without imprisonment. Connection? Yes, but without self-abandonment. The heart of the chosen one is big, but it needs to learn to close doors that no longer honor it. So, if this name doesn't leave your mind, be silent. Ask for discernment. Surrender. And if it is meant to be, it will be with lightness. Don't fight to forget, but also don't cling to remembering. Release the thought. Thank what was, and move on. Because when your mind quiets, what is real finds space to blossom. If you felt this message, write in the comments. Now I understand why this person wouldn't leave my mind. I want to know what you felt. You are not alone in this journey, and your energy deserves to be at peace.